My brothers from another mother and my sisters from another mister. In today's video, I want to have a little chat about entrepreneurship and why it just kind of sucks sometimes, because there's a lot of, you even hear radio ads now that are starting to get a little weird. I heard one the other day from a Staples, I think it was, and they're going on about how, if you buy your kids this, they'll be the next internet entrepreneur winning in life and, have a big multi-billion dollar multiple exit on their startup. And the truth of the matter is, being an entrepreneur is really kind of shit sometimes. It's not as easy and simple as people make it out to be. So here are the 5 things that I think that you should know about when it comes to the glorification and glamourification of entrepreneurship. Number 1, your mental sanity will come into question. Let's use a very popular entrepreneur by the name of Steve Jobs. Met a speaker at an event a few years ago by the name of Guy Kawasaki. You may have heard of him. He was involved in the early stages of Apple, and he shared 2 interesting stories with us during his chat. The first was, everybody thought Steve Jobs was such an amazing guy and an entrepreneur and evangelist and blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is, if you read his biography and dive a little deeper, he was a little bit crazy, almost maniacal. He was the guy that would go around the office and make a big deal about the garbage cans not being the right shade of black, not being black enough. He was the guy that would walk around the office and tour somebody and walk up to this guy Kawasaki and say to him, "Hey guy, what do you think of this such and such company and their software service and product?" And Guy would respond, "I think it kind of sucks. Not really, something that I think that we'd want to get ourselves involved with." And then Steve would say, "Oh, by the way, this is the CEO of the company." So your mental sanity as an entrepreneur does get questioned often. It doesn't matter who you are or what level of entrepreneurship you are at. I've seen, entrepreneurs being called sociopaths, maniacal, narcissists, everything up and down the food chain, whether it's from their employees, their partners, their spouses, or somebody that they're dating. So the truth of the matter is, as an entrepreneur, your sanity will come into question. Number 2, your life as an entrepreneur is a roller coaster ride. It is extreme highs and extreme lows. I've been on the podium receiving an award for growing one of Canada's fastest growing companies, and several weeks later been crying in a ball of tears over some shit that's going on in my business that feels like it's destroying me. Being an entrepreneur is very challenging and will have the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. It's just part and parcel of entrepreneurship. You have to accept it and recognize everything is not rainbows, butterflies, and unicorns. You do have great days and you do have terrible days. Number 3, the government is a royal pain in the ass. It doesn't matter if it is policymakers, legislators, or just the government in general when it comes to collecting taxes. Let me tell you a little story I can share from today even. Got a notice in the mail for EHT, which in Ontario stands for Employer Health Tax. And here's an employer you need to deduct and remit to the government so we can pay for our wonderful healthcare system. Well, lo and behold, our remittance form had not been sent by our payroll provider on time, and I get a notice in the mail saying that we've been sent to collections and there's a lien. Well, it didn't take me no less than 3 hours today of calling our payroll provider and the Ministry of Finance to deal with the issue to fix it, because they don't really care who you are when you call in. You're often put on hold for ages and nobody seems to be able to solve the problem quick enough. That's just the truth of the matter when it comes to taxation. When it comes to policy making and legislation, they just don't care about you or your business or your client. They will only side with whoever pays them the most money. I'm speaking from personal experience here in dealing with policymakers and legislators at Ontario's Queen Park. A few years ago, I spent the better part of a year and a good $50,000 or $60,000 in lobbying fees getting in front of people to try to get laws to work for the consumer and our business. And they sided with the big credit card companies at the end of the day after all of our efforts. The government is a royal pain in the butt. Number 4, the failure rate of entrepreneurship is astoundingly high. A Y Combinator, for example, read an article not too long ago, and they don't take everybody into their incubator. These are the investment incubators that have guidance and counseling for startup businesses. So experts guiding those that are starting up business and products to try to get them off the ground properly. And they really only have a success rate of about 1 in 10 of those that they filter into their program. So that does not include the people they do not let into their program. The failure rate, therefore, is considerably higher, probably approaching 1 in 20 businesses have any level of success over a period of about 3 to 4 years. Being a successful entrepreneur is not as glamorous and easy as you're led to believe. It is a very hard and lonely business. Which brings me to my last and final installment, number 5. Being an entrepreneur is not as glamorous as you're led to believe. You see a lot of articles, and this guy was funded here, and he gave away all of his money, and he lowered his salary down to $10 a month or $1 a year. You hear all these wonderful stories about these entrepreneurs that have these great lives. You'll see them on Facebook. They'll share their moments of business awards and trips and things like that. These are often the highlight reels, ladies and gentlemen. They are not their day-to-day truths. They only tell you a small part of the story. Remember, social media is always a highlight reel. It is a brief lapse, a little moment in time of that individual's day, and they're often not going to share that moment where they're curled up in a ball in their bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, worried or crying about some devastating thing that struck their life or their business. Anyway, I want to hear your comments on this video below. Please leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or checking it out on Facebook. Of course, like our page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me know what you think is so difficult about being an entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur. And if you're not, and you feel like sharing this with somebody that needs to hear this message, please do so. Thanks for checking out the video. Have an awesome day. Peace.